Hey, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you may be. Scott Luton and Allison Giddens here with you on Supply Chain Now. Welcome to today's live stream. Hey, Allison, how you doing?
Hey, I'm good. How are you?
I am wonderful. Let's see here. But it's hot. It is
hot.
warm. We got a brief reprieve yesterday due to some rain, right? A lot of rain. We needed rain. But man, I think it's back up in the 90s today, Allison.
Yep. We're supposed to get more rain though. So there's
That's
that.
good.
Yeah.
There's that. Rain for all the plants I've killed in
All
my
the tomatoes.
latest attempt. That's right. My latest attempt at growing a garden didn't go well. But anyway, today's going to be a lot better because today, folks, is The Buzz, where every Monday at 12 noon Eastern Time, we discuss a variety of news developments across global supply chain and global business. And Allison, we got some great stories to get into. Of course, the global technology outage. Hope many of you out there listening or viewing have been able to make it home to your families. We've got the Gulf and East Coast port workers, labor contract negotiations or lack thereof. We're going to touch on that. And Amazon is making some progress when it comes to reducing waste, all that good stuff. We also, Allison, have a special guest that will be joining us about 12:20 to share some information about a special event you got to come out to, right? We got Kim Humphrey, President CEO of the Association for Manufacturing Excellence, joining us about 12:20. So buckle up, folks, and get ready. Allison, should be a great show, huh?
Yes, absolutely.
And we love manufacturing.
Yes.
You happen to still be in it. I love to amplify it. I spent some time. I was part of my journey in the manufacturing industry, in the metal stamping industry in particular, where I lost a couple of my 9 lives. But love talking manufacturing. But Allison, I want to invite all those folks out there. Give us your take in the comments. Let us know what you're thinking about some of these stories we are going to talk through, whether you're tuned in via LinkedIn or YouTube, X, Facebook, Twitch, no matter. Let us know what you think. And if you enjoy today's show, we'd love for you to share it with a friend and your network as if it was a Twix bar, Allison. And don't be skimpy and give folks one of those Twix bars. You better give them at least 2, right?
What? Why would you give them 2? That's the whole point of there being 2. You have one, somebody else has one.
Sharing
is 2, and you never tell the other person that you have one.
Sharing is caring. Come on. All right, great show here today. All right, let's offer up a couple quick resources first. And I want to start with a great edition of With That Said that we dropped over the weekend. Now, this was like the Baskin Robbins of the newsletters, right? We had a little bit of everything.
Yes.
We celebrated the founding of Albertsons, which took place yesterday. Many of y'all may not know it was founded in Boise, Idaho. Of course, they've got a big pending merger with Kroger. We'll see how that goes. We hit a lot of news, including how Ford Motor Company is pivoting production big time from EVs to Super Duty trucks. Allison, they're making changes to bring on about 100,000 new Super Duty trucks a year based on some of these changes they're making. Are you in the market for a new truck, Allison?
I'm not, but I think everybody is. Every time I turn around, somebody's asking about a truck. There are trucks for sale that are used with, $150,000 miles that are going for big bucks. So
I tell you,
tells me the demand is there for sure.
It sure is. Lots of interesting things going on in the automotive market. We also offered a variety of great resources, including good stuff from our friends at Coupa, Accenture, Blue Grace Logistics, Bastion Solutions, and a whole bunch more. And to make it convenient for folks, we included links to our live programming for the week. So with that said, it usually comes out on Sundays, and it kind of gives you a preview of the week ahead. So check it out, and may your weeks ahead not be like that snapshot that is in the picture right now. Allison, that was a moment in time last Friday, from the Hartsfield-Jackson International Airport. Man,
those poor people.
Poor people. Folks, check it out though. We'd love for you to get your take on With That Said, the newsletter. Also, if you haven't yet found our YouTube channel, you ought to check it out. We recently crested over 10,000 subscribers. And a big reason for that, one of the bigger reasons there, is it's so convenient. It's so convenient to find our shows, our Whiteboard Wisdom series, our live stream replays, some of our webinar replays, I believe, is on it. But check it out. It's easy. Allison, do you watch much YouTube?
I have only a handful of of accounts I've subscribed to, of course, y'all's being one of them. But I like it because you can really curate what gets recommended to you and the stuff that you can go find.
That is right. I watch YouTube probably too much. It's not unhealthy, right? But I'll probably watch more YouTube.
We don't need an intervention yet.
That's right. I watch probably more YouTube than I do. If you take sports out, I probably watch more YouTube than anything else. So nice. If you're like me, check us out. Check out Supply Chain Now over there on YouTube. All right, Allison, we got so much to get into here today. And we're going to tackle a couple of stories before our big guest joins us, Kim Humphrey. And then we've got 3 or 4 more stories after she joins us. So did you eat your Wheaties today, Allison?
Let's do this. Let's do it. If I didn't, we're going to just breeze on through it. Yeah, push through.
And for some of y'all out there, I've uncovered that Wheaties is an old reference. It was my go-to for so long.
Well, what would you say now? What's
Power Bar or take your vitamins? Maybe I don't know. What do folks eat for?
Yeah. What do people eat for breakfast? Do people have breakfast? I don't know.
Let us know, folks. If you don't eat Wheaties, if you don't eat cereal, let us know. But regardless, be ready to go. We got a lot of stuff to get into here today, and we're going to start, Allison, with one of the biggest news stories right now, and that, of course, is these painful experiences many people and organizations across the world have been going through, the global technology outage. So I want to cover it from a couple of different angles, right? I'm going to cover it from how it happened, and we're going to offer a couple of blurbs from the latest, what's taking place today. So as many of you now know, here's how it happened. As reported here by CNBC, it starts with the Texas-based cybersecurity firm CrowdStrike, which many companies, especially in the Fortune 500, I think about half of companies in the Fortune 500 use CrowdStrike to detect and block hacks, right? Now, as an endpoint security, learn the new phrases here. Allison may already know that, but as an endpoint security firm, many companies take the CrowdStrike software and install it on all of their devices and machines across the enterprise. See where we're heading here. So CrowdStrike issued a software update last week that was faulty. In particular, the update didn't interact successfully, didn't get along with Microsoft Windows. Thus, the update triggered millions of machines across the globe to crash, especially impacting financial services, healthcare, airline industries, and many, many others. Now, switching gears here, and raise your hand if you've ever felt like that gentleman in that shot right there at an airport. That picture it just communicates volumes, Allison, huh?
Been there, done that.
Been there, done that. So, quick update on where we are today. So, the recovery is ongoing in a wide variety of areas. It's going to take some time, but others certainly have recovered more quickly than some sectors. From what I've seen, and it's kind of tough, Allison. This is a big global event, and it's kind of tough to get your hands around everything going on, right? Every status update. But it seems that the biggest cleanup ongoing, still currently, is here in the U.S., where as of this morning, hundreds of flights were canceled earlier today, here Monday, July 22nd, especially. Delta Airlines has been hit really hard. And when we talk about real numbers, 800 flights have been canceled today. 1,500 flights have been delayed, all reported here by CNN. And really early estimates say that the overall incident is going to cost industry some $1 billion. Allison, I bet that's real conservative thus far. Your thoughts?
So my thoughts, and I remember on Friday morning, kind of all this happening. I'm pretty active in cybersecurity community and heard lots and lots of chatter. And I follow a lot of people on LinkedIn that have been talking about this all weekend long. And there was something that really struck me last night, or I'm sorry, it was yesterday morning, Sunday morning. A gentleman by the name of Jacob Williams commented or posted on LinkedIn something that was really food for thought, and I thought I'd share here. He is an enterprise risk management expert himself. And he noted that as we move into Monday, which is 72 hours after the event began, vendor management teams need to take inventory of which vendors are still suffering impacts from this event, from this CrowdStrike event. It's going to be very important for future business continuity planning. And since this is a simple fix relative to a ransomware event, I mean, in the grand scheme of things, if you have an MSP team or an IT team, this really was once you knew what the fix was, you just had to get it done. And so Jacob continues and says, if an organization can't recover quickly here, they're going to fare far worse if hit with ransomware. So I think that's just some food for thought. As we look at Delta, and as we look at bigger systems that are having a lot more kind of grief. And granted, I don't know how much of the Delta issue is still having issues, or is this just the backlog? Because essentially everybody who was traveling Friday had to figure out ways to get home. And then you pair that with still in the summer, you still have vacations. It's a Monday.
Right.
So you've got all these, this bullwhip effect, as it were.
Well, that's excellent perspective, and appreciate you sharing that. I'm grateful for every blessing we've ever had, but I'm especially grateful that we got back on Tuesday morning last week and not on Friday morning from our family trip. So very thankful. Good stuff there, Allison. Hey, really quick from Jeremy. Jeremy, great to see you here. Jeremy says, cautionary tale of over centralization. Great point. Risk management 101. That's right, Jeremy. Keep it coming. Great to see you. Hey, Gino Pledger. Great to see you from North Alabama. Hope this finds you well. Give us your take. Hopefully you're not traveling this week. And LK, Larry Klein down in South Georgia. Larry, hope you're doing well. Continue to do well. And looking forward to your next update. Great to see you. All right, Allison. So that, of course, is an ongoing story. I think there are already tons of reports of bad actors taking advantage of the situation. So, folks, do your due diligence down deep. So hopefully we can continue to mitigate the overall impact.
Well, remember too, while we're all distracted and while we're working towards this, the bad guys are watching as we're looking the other way. So
always
just pay attention.
We're a Superman.
Yes.
When so, all right, moving right along. I want to shift over to the manufacturing industry, which we were talking about earlier. So here's a neat story from our friends at Manufacturing Dive, one of my favorite reads. If you love manufacturing, you ought to check out Manufacturing Dive. So this reports on how some manufacturers are experimenting with remote work, which can be, as we all know, if you ever been involved in manufacturing like me and Allison have, can be really tricky, remote work in a hands-on production environment. Now, it goes without saying that the global pandemic caused a big-time surge in remote work across global industry, right? And yes, even in the manufacturing industry. This number kind of surprises me, Allison. It's been reported in this article that 41% of manufacturing employees were able to adopt remote work during the pandemic. That's a little bit higher than I would have expected.
Agree.
As this article indicates, many manufacturers are still trying to find a variety of ways to offer remote working and flexibility to it, so they can attract and retain the best talent. Use it as a talent advantage, right? Remote work in some aspects of manufacturing operations are, of course, far easier than others to create that flexible environment. Some major automotive suppliers, for example, shifted their design and engineering teams to remote work. That makes sense to me. And while technology is evolving and those real-time capabilities are indeed enabling better communication, that is at least allowing the thought, the notion, the conversations when it comes to flexible, creative approaches and how they can be applied in other production-related roles. Generally speaking, we seem to be quite far away, down past the horizon from a situation where frontline, hands-on production workers would be able to use a remote virtual portal to build and create stuff from home, right? But Allison, I'm really interested in your take here. You lead a manufacturing operation here in Atlanta. Your thoughts?
I'm going to be totally candid with you. Please don't come at me, bro. But I think this is a lot of pie in the sky. In my world, in a 42-person company, manufacturing machine shop, our core are production employees. We have very few what we call overhead employees, or people that really would be able to do things from home. I mean, granted, yeah, we can all send emails from home, but truly, what is that getting done if you're in a machine shop? I don't know. I'm really torn on this. I really like how Carolyn Lee, the president and executive director of the Manufacturing Institute, how she put it. She said right away we began having conversations with companies about how to ensure they weren't creating two groups within. And I think that's key. Is you don't want to set up something for the sake of setting up. I hear far too many horror stories about smaller companies that are trying to acquiesce to people wanting the remote work, only to find that remote work has turned into 3 out of the 8 hours the person's away from the computer because they're off doing a quick Target run or picking up kids. And people need to understand that remote work is not flex time. I mean, it could be, but then it's different. Remote work is not PTO half the day.
Right.
And, I don't know, maybe as the owner of a business, I have a different perspective, but it'll be a long time till we see it in a small business machine shop.
I agree. Now I am you make some great points there. A couple of points. I think there will be a day that I envision. I think it's a matter of when. Is it 10 years from now or is it 30 years from now, where talented craftspeople can put their hands into like a virtual portal and do stuff, make stuff, add value, whatever, right? And of course, there's millions of different manufacturing type operations, right? But I think that day at some point, kind of Buck Rogers stuff, that day is is somewhere in our future. But I think the other point, I think you made a really important point, the Manufacturing Institute, so I think you quoted, because here's a great analogy. Big Brother started, me and Amanda are big Brother fans, a CBS reality show. I think they're in season like 3,000. But they've got something that's a regular part, called the haves and the have-nots. And it's a part of the game, right? And when I hear you talk about we don't want to pit two factions, right? That's where my brain went. Because what we don't want, that's bad for culture. It's bad for team. Those that have the ability versus those that don't. So really, we got to put our thinking caps on and really be careful how we apply remote, in my view, remote work in any environment, not just manufacturing, but any environment. Your final thought there, Allison?
No, absolutely agree. We need to, I think a lot of our manufacturing leadership, we've been a little gun shy because of the workforce, because we have felt to a degree that we've needed workforce so badly, we're almost willing to do anything to get it.
Right.
And I think that has almost turned in ugly ways in some way, in some regards to, okay, fine, you want remote work? We'll let you work from home. Well, why? Is the person getting done what they need to get done? Great, then they should do it from wherever. But is it a matter of they just don't want to drive 35 minutes one way, and they want to be able to watch TV if they want to watch TV? Why are we doing this? We just need to be intentional, and I think that's key.
That's right. Don't come at me, bro. Is that what you said on the front end?
Don't come at me, bro.
There's lots of passionate takes around. This is a really important topic that's only rose in prominence and will probably continue to rise in prominence as the last couple of years have trained folks and have probably impacted expectations for their careers and their journeys. Interesting topic. Folks, we drop the link to each of these articles we tackle right there in the comments, where you'll also find the powerhouse, Kim Reuter, global e-commerce, supply chain startup ops, Dynamo. Great to see you. Kim is commenting on an earlier story we covered with the global technology outage fiasco, talking about how that and some of the things that Allison mentioned is a good indicator of possible security risks in the future. We got to learn. That's a great point, Kim. We got to learn from every single great day and every single really bad day, right? And apply those lessons learned. Allison, one last comment. Speaking about the pandemic in general, do you feel like me, I feel that some of those most important lessons that we learned about how fragile global industry is, that we're already starting to forget some of those lessons. Do you see that too, Allison?
Yeah, I think it's because it's noisy. I think there's so many, everything seems to be a priority. And when everything's a priority, then nothing's a priority.
Right.
So I think that it's just hard to remember what's most important. And it's all in context too,
That's right. The tyranny of the urgent. I've heard folks put it. I think that's the title of a book somewhere too.
I like it. That's good.
Okay. Speaking of good stuff, we've got an outstanding guest joining us here today, a longtime friend of the show, personal friend of ours. I admire what she does in so many different ways. Great leader. Let's welcome in our special guest here today, Allison. Kim Humphrey, President and CEO of the Association for Manufacturing Excellence. Hey, Kim, how are you doing?
Hey, Scott. Hey, Allison.
Hey.
Great to see you. Great to see you. We're just rocking and rolling right along, and we get to talk with you, which really makes our days for sure. So, Allison and Kim, before we get into the outstanding event coming up here in Atlanta in October that Kim and her team are building, and it's going to be one that you can't miss, let's start with a little fun warm-up question, Allison and Kim, okay? So, we always try to equip people to be in position to win their local bar trivia games. Okay, that's that's one of our missions here. So
We've set the bar real low.
That's right. Here's a fun digit on this date, July 22nd, back in 1926. Dorcas Bates Riley was born in Woodbury, New Jersey. Now, what was one of her big accomplishments on behalf of humanity, you may ask? Well, as a chef in Campbell's Test Kitchen, Riley is credited with creating the American classic maybe, that green bean casserole. We can thank Dorcas Bates Riley for coming up with that, which adorns many a table around Thanksgiving and other times of year. Also, Allison and Kim, talking about great food. Today is officially National BLT Day. That's right, bacon, lettuce, tomato sandwiches, which I can't get enough of this time of year when you got all these tomatoes. And that's where we're going to pose our fun warm-up question, Kim and Allison. Starting with you, Kim. When you think of the summer months, no matter how hot, it's still summer, and it brings certain things that they're best enjoyed this time of year. What's one food or dish or meal that you love during the summer more than any other time of the year?
There was absolutely no question, Scott. I am a watermelon, just fanatic. I love watermelon in the summertime.
Oh, I do too. Salt or no salt, Kim?
No salt.
No salt. Okay. Salt and watermelon, Allison, that might change people's life at times. I know it impacted my 3 kids. Allison, watermelon's a good one. What about you?
All right, I'm gonna cheat, and I'm gonna answer it in a way of something that I saw this weekend and I want to try, and I think it could be a life changer.
Okay.
And that is Sprite with a scoop of lime sherbet.
Sprite with
that might not sound totally refreshing.
It takes me back to like ice cream socials in church growing up. I think that's something we had in the parlors.
Is it?
Yeah.
Okay, well, then maybe I should do it in church.
Ice cream or sherbet, Allison?
Sherbet.
Sherbet. Okay.
Lime sherbet with Sprite. Almost like an ice cream float, but more like summery.
Hey, I love it. Coke floats, of course. Kim, does that sound good to you?
It sounds good, but root beer floats are my favorite.
That sounds good too.
See, I like root beer on its own without the ice cream because it's got kind of that it's not a sour taste. It's just a very unique root beery taste, right? It's like a bite. That's right.
Yeah. Why are we doing this during lunch? Why are we talking about this over there?
I'm starving. I'm back on BLT if I got to keep it honest. Let's see here. Scott says Friendly's sherbet cooler is something that he enjoys during the summer. I have to check that out. Love that. Larry Klein loves a good old-fashioned red velvet cake. Outstanding. And Jeremy's going to make us really hungry. Jeremy talks about eating hot dogs in summer. They're not healthy, but he still eats them. Also, those cheap ice pops are an addiction for him.
Those are good.
Chili Willy's was the brand, I think, when I was a kid, of those cheap ice cream pops. So good stuff there, Scott, Larry, and Jeremy. Okay, we got to get to work, folks, now that we've made everybody hungry. Kim, really excited. Our Supply Chain Now team is excited about collaborating with AME yet again as you bring to Atlanta a can't-miss event, big event. It's called the AME International Conference 2024. It runs from October 28th to October 31st. And we've got a graphic here I want to share as well. So, folks, for you visual learners, check it out. It's AME's 40th Annual International Conference. Been there and done that. Connect, evolve, transform. Kim, why should folks consider joining us all in Atlanta for this can't-miss event?
So thank you, Scott. I'm so excited about this. You mentioned earlier sharing is caring. And as you may know, AME's mission is to share, learn, and grow. And so this year we're coming to your city. We'll bring about 1,100 people, and we'll be doing everything from tours to incredible speakers, keynote speakers. We've got speakers on a very timely topic that you were just talking about, cybersecurity, but continuous improvement, respect for people, enterprise excellence. We also are going to be keynoting Paul Lavoie, and he is the Chief Manufacturing Officer for the state of Connecticut, the only one in the United States. So we're real excited about that. We're also going to be doing some incredible tours to a lot of different places, your Georgia Tech Advanced Manufacturing Facility, and of course, Chick-fil-A. So we really encourage everyone to come out and join us in Atlanta. We're so excited, and thank you for hosting us, Allison and Scott.
Oh, definitely. On behalf of our fair city, Allison, we can, you're welcome. We can say as a city of Atlanta, Kim. Well, I want to pick one thing out because the learnings, the workshop, the keynotes, the networking, all that sounds great. I love all that. And especially with a group like AME, which focuses on one of my favorite things in life, which is the manufacturing industry and how we get better as an industry, which is, of course, core to the DNA at AME. But Allison, plant tours, I'm very thankful. Talk about blessings. I'm thankful to have been in and out of over 300 facilities in my lifetime. Not all part of plant tours, some supplier visits, and plenty of other things. But Allison, there's so much to learn. What'd you hear there? What was one of your favorite things Kim shared?
Yes. The tours for sure. And just looking at some of the kind of highlights of the agenda itself, it's just different. Like it's not your same old, same old. Mm-hmm. So that's why it's going to be exciting. And I mean, October, come on, manufacturing month, right? So
that's right. Home of, let's see, October is Manufacturing Day, right? The first Friday.
Yep, first Friday. Very good. Nice.
Outstanding.
Yes.
Well, Kim, you bring more good news. Because if folks act now, I'm not trying not to sound like Ron Popeil in this next little blurb. But folks, if you act now, there's an earlier bird special. You can save up to 30% of your registration fees, and you can go to the link we dropped in the comments or ame.org/Atlanta. And Kim, you mentioned the Chief Manufacturing Officer from the state of Connecticut, but there's lots of there's all sorts of leaders. C-levels through frontline, you name all points in between. But you'll be networking with hundreds of manufacturing leaders at the event too, huh?
That's right. And we are also will be kicking off our AME Mexico region at this event. This is incredibly exciting for us. We've been around for 40 years. And so this is the first year Mexico has an official region with us. We'll also have our friends from international Australia and the UK joining us. So we're real excited to host this event.
International event in an international city for an international industry for sure. Outstanding. And hey, Jeremy, don't be picking on us too hard. It's not the traffic that brings folks to Atlanta, but it is a cool city as Jeremy has. So we've got his rubber stamp. But Kim, I love to hear the Mexico expansion. It's incredible. The people, the market, what's going on across Mexico and the critical role it plays, of course, in the global manufacturing industry. So that is exciting. We're going to have Allison. We're going to have to connect Kim with our supply chain now in Espanol programming and amplify the good news across really Latin America.
Yes, for sure.
So how can folks, Kim, how can they, beyond the registration link, how can they connect with you and the AME team?
Yeah, actually, I'll put my personal email in the chat. I mean, anyone can reach out to me personally. Love to talk more about AME.
Outstanding, man. That is a brave, bold move, Kim. Bold.
I'm a brave person, Scott. But also, I wanted to mention one other thing.
Sure.
One of the things that we've done this year, as you know, real passionate around the veterans, and so this year, our veterans and our active duty military can get free membership to AME, and I really encourage them to sign up for that. I am an Army brat and the proud aunt of a nephew in the Army, so I'm very passionate around that, and also used to build aircraft carriers for the Navy. So really want to support our veterans and our active duty military.
I really appreciate you brought that up because that's a key dynamic in our collaboration as well, right? Mm-hmm. We're very proud to support the veteran, to support our veteran community, but also amplify the veteran experience and journey. And there's a, veterans are so, and Allison, I know we've talked about this plenty of times. They pose such a tremendous component to our talent pipeline in any industry, I'd argue, but in particular, when it comes to manufacturing, supply chain, logistics, transportation, there's a wealth of talent. And I love Kim and AME's commitment to supporting and helping those veterans make connections. Allison, your thoughts there?
For sure. That's something too that I'm seeing a lot in industry, that people are starting to realize veterans entering private workforce again, that's an untapped workforce market. And what better group and audience and population of people that, they work hard, they've got all those basic things that you want in an employee. So it's kind of a
value driven.
So this is really cool.
That's right. Value driven.
Thank you.
Okay, Kim, want to definitely reiterate one more time, folks, coming up October 28th through the 31st. By my math, and careful, I have South Carolina math. It's dangerous. That's about 3 months and a week away. Is that right, Kim and Allison? Check my math there. 3 months and a week away.
Yes.
So it's time to take action. And of course, we dropped the link there. So check it out. And as Kim mentioned, anyone can reach out to her at khumphrey@ame.org. Kim Humphrey, President and CEO of the Association for Manufacturing Excellence. Thanks so much for being here. And thanks, more importantly, thank you for what you do to help make the industry better for all.
Thank you, Scott. Thank you, Allison.
We'll see you soon.
Bye-bye.
Good stuff, Allison. Good stuff. I love a variety of elements when it comes to Kim and AME's leadership. But the power, I'm very thankful again. This is gonna be like the Blessings buzz, the Blessings version of the buzz, maybe. But I am so glad beyond the pandemic, and we're all back being able to connect with folks at great events like the International Conference here at the AME, where you're going to have hundreds, if not thousands, of manufacturing leaders right here in Atlanta. That is something I'm thankful is back. Your thoughts?
Yes, absolutely. It's kind of fun too to see how, we talked about earlier about how post-COVID, us trying to figure out, what are some of the things that we need to keep doing, or what are the things we need to stop doing. And I'm watching as organizations like AME, it's really cool what they're doing with this conference, because they've got a bunch of different tracks and a bunch of different style events within the agenda, including an idea exchange. So rather than back with COVID, where you just have a talking head, like we're doing, two people, you just have the talking head. But the cool thing is the idea exchange, you have this two-way conversation. So we're going back to realizing that it's the conversations that are valuable. It's the networking that's valuable. It's not so much the one-way exchange.
Right.
So.
Excellent point. Two-way street. Street. And for folks that really take that approach going to any event, really, I would argue, you're going to get so much out of it, so much more out of it. So excellent point there, Allison. And how cool is it that a state has a chief manufacturing officer?
That is cool.
Does Georgia have one? Allison, we got to get on the phone with the gov.
I don't know. I could be it if you want me to be for the day.
Hey, done. Allison Giddens, Chief Manufacturing Officer for the state of Georgia. Excellent. Unfortunately, I can't give you a pay increase with that.
That's all right. It's fine. Do I get a day off?
Yeah, maybe. We'll lobby. All right. We got to keep working here. And yes, I tell you, Jeremy's like a third co-host here today. You're right. And he makes a great point. Veterans need leadership positions. And what I extrapolate from that statement by Jeremy, being an Air Force veteran and being that this is a space I've been involved in a long time, is they need jobs that take full advantage of their skill sets. Underemployment is still a big issue in our veteran community, right? And that there's a lot of root causes behind that, but one of them still, Allison, that I see and I hear about from folks across industry is the interview process. Folks that haven't been in the military, it can be challenging to really get and understand what our veterans have done on really any part of their service. And we got to build better communicative. I said it right?
It's a good word. Sure.
Communicative bridges there. We got to make it more effective. And to Kim's point, we got to be willing to be the connectors, be those blessed connectors and connect them with networks and industries and voices of industry.
Yep.
All right, I'll get off my soapbox now. Let's talk about our next story here. This is an interesting one. We're going to hit this really quick because there's not a whole bunch of progress to report. So I want to give a quick update on the critical negotiations or lack thereof taking place that are critical to Gulf Coast and East Coast ports in the U.S. and, of course, all the businesses and all of industry that depends on that infrastructure. Interesting read here from our friends at Supply Chain Dive. Now, as you may know, especially our audience out there, the smartest audience in all of global supply chain, the International Longshoremen's Association, ILA, well, that represents some 85,000 workers at about 100 East and Gulf Coast ports in the U.S. Now, that's one side, Allison. And it's more than two sides, but stay with me here. That's one side. On the other side, it's the United States Maritime Alliance, commonly called USMX. That is an employers association that represents many of the companies that operate in those same ports. And guess what? Their current labor contract expires on September 30th, just about 2 months away. And those talks have hit some serious snags. This headline here talks about there's forward movement when it comes to resolving some of the issues preventing those negotiations, but movement is not progress, is not successful negotiations. So we're going to keep our finger on the pulse. But this is what I want to call out. Unlike many other labor discussions across industry, at least one of the parties doesn't want anyone butting into the discussions. Get this, Allison. ILA President Harold Daggett said in a recent statement that they are not interested, the ILA, in, quote, any help from outside agencies to interfere in our negotiations with USMX. This includes the Biden administration and the Department of Labor, end quote. West Coast ports have already seen, at least as recently as May, and that was a couple months ago, probably seen more. But they've already seen some fractional volume gains due to very nervous and anxious shippers that fear a stoppage due to a non-successful or even non-existent negotiation process. Allison, your thoughts, and do you want to predict strike or no strike?
So I'm going to make an observation, and then I'm going to turn around and ask you a question. Okay, so my observation is the comment made by the ILA president on not wishing anyone else to butt in. I wonder how much that has to do, though, and I'm not getting into politics, how much of it has to do with the politics of it, because I know the current administration has not been as union friendly as traditionally the Democrats have been. So I wonder if that's more a statement just out there into the ether. And I wonder how those kind of attitudes will change as we get closer to the election and as predictions as to which party will be in power ultimately will show us. But I think my question to you is, do you feel as though the market has a higher risk tolerance now than we did a year or two ago? Only because we've been seeing as some of these headaches and some of these obstacles have come forth, and how we've had to be creative and figure out workarounds. Are those that would have been a little more gun shy 2 or 3 years ago now saying, okay, you know what? Forget it. Come at me. Let's do this.
Come at me, bro.
Come at me, bro.
That's a tough question. And I would need to set the market down on a couch and lay them down and have the market talk about their mother and other of their drivers. But I think the first thing that comes to mind is there's never an appetite for a work stoppage, especially a work stoppage this big,
right, on
the heels of what we went through the last couple of years. And I would also be as bold as to predict that there will not be a work stoppage. There will not be a work stoppage.
I'm with you. I think I'm with you. Yeah.
And going back to your first point, I agree with you that Harold, Mr. Daggett, I'll call him, this is probably just part of the negotiation, adding more pressure, because a lot of folks, whether it was a UPS, a potential strike, and other workforce potential stoppages, there's a lot of folks that want to view the White House as wearing the cape, swooping in, making the agreement happen. And Mr. Daggett probably doesn't want that to be even part of the equation to keep the USMX exactly where the ILA wants them to be. So we shall see. But my prediction is there will not be a work stoppage. Just keep those containers flowing freely, and let's take care of the workers in this age of the workforce, right? Mm-hmm. So we'll see how it plays out. All right, and you're on the record, Allison. You agree with me that there will not be.
I hope this ages well. Yes.
I hope it ages well. That's right. All right, let's move right along. Here's an interesting story. Better news, I'll call it. Amazon is making some progress on cutting out waste. That's great, especially given the volume that the big A puts out there every single day. And so according to Engadget, Amazon says it has reduced the use of plastic air pillows by 95%. That's great news. Because I see those ear pillows in some of my past orders and things that need no comforting. They need no extra protection. But and as we've reported here on the Buzz, going back a year or so ago, because this effort that Amazon has been trying to make progress on for years involves not the air pillows as much as cardboard boxes, using less cardboard boxes. And they're making progress there as well. Allison, a little personal note. Let's see. I think I've got an image here. So I got this. Now the whole world knows what Amanda's getting for holidays. So I took advantage of Prime Day for the first time in a long time. Got a great deal on this Ninja Creamy, right? It was going to be a secret for Amanda. Got a great deal. And it shows up a few days later because I never wanted to rush. I can wait for it. I can wait till Christmas in this case. But it comes outside. They didn't put an Amazon box over it, right? Yeah. And I'm thankful for that. More blessings, right? Because that is out. That's just up and up waste, out and out waste, just nothing but waste. But there's trade-offs. Amanda saw what she was getting for the holidays. Surprise. So Alice, but I'll take that. I mean, really.
You get points for buying it so early, though.
Well, I mean, hey,
let's just say that my birthday is like 72 hours from now, and I'm not sure my husband started shopping. So let's give you credit on Christmas.
Well, I gotta say, that's usually me. That little situation you described, that's usually me. But again, I got a great deal. Alice, are you seeing though? This is a great. We learned so much being practitioners, sure, but we learn a ton being consumers too. And I love examples where I see progress being made in my customer experience. Are you seeing the same?
Yes and no. I mean, and I buy a lot on Amazon. I'm noticing less packaging, but then more destroyed items. Whatever you do, don't buy shampoo from Amazon because your entire front porch will smell like Redken. But the other piece of that too is that I'll get like a giant envelope. What did I buy? Nail files or something. And I had this giant envelope and they showed up and they were one little tiny nail file at the bottom. It's like, really? So I don't know. I think you could use all the packaging materials or all the, or the fewest packaging materials, but unless you've trained your peeps on how that thing is being packaged, it might be too little too late. I don't know.
Well, 2 steps forward, 1 step back, maybe. We'll see. Yep. I think overall they're making progress. And I'll tell you all,
and that's great.
It is great.
Especially with the fact that the paper filler at 95% instead of the plastic things. That's great. Because then, especially because I can reuse the paper stuff.
That's right. But I would just say, we play an active part as consumers, right, in providing an opportunity for Amazon to make progress, right? So if you're buying one-off nail files, I'm not saying you are, Allison.
Oh, no, you're right. Other folks, oh, yeah, for sure.
If we can bunch our orders better and also not trying to get those new red holiday socks the next day here in July versus waiting that out, we can provide some opportunities for more progress. So some folks would say, well, I'm the customer. I don't want that stuff. Hey, I respect that. I'm just saying, hey, a lot of the same folks want more sustainability gains, and it's tough to get your cake and eat it too. So for whatever it's worth, I feel like the soapbox has been a little bigger than it typically is here on the Buzz.
Sorry, I'm feeding into that. I apologize. Yeah.
Well, progress is being made, at least by one of the biggest e-retailers on the planet. We're going to wrap on a cool story here, Allison. Let me pull up my notes here. It's an interesting creative article from our friends at Forbes entitled How the Global Supply Chain is Like a Summer Metallica Tour. Now, I'm going to point out a couple of things from this read here, and I'll get your thoughts, your reaction, Allison. So some of the similarities that the article points out are going to be very obvious, but I think these pieces are important, especially for folks that aren't in the industry, because it helps build a bigger tent. So they point out procurement in this case, sourcing and maintaining the guitars and other instruments. This folks got to buy the merch, like this T-shirt here that used to scare the bejesus out of me as a kid. Sourcing out specialized stage equipment, all that rolls up into the procurement function. Big similarity there. That's right. Project-based logistics, getting said gear and merch transported across the globe. And there's a critical phrase here: in and out of many countries. That's much easier said than done. That's where really supply chain prowess really can come into use. Now, did you know, Allison, Metallica's tours involve 48 trucks. 48 trucks. Those are probably really big trucks, not pick 'em up trucks, to carry all the stages and equipment, and probably some, at least one of those trucks carry all the adult beverages like Jack Daniels and some other stuff. Just a hunch. And one less item. Imagine, and this is just we're just pointing out a few pieces of the big equation that powers these summer concert tours. I can only imagine Taylor Swift's, what all is involved there. But supply chain coordination. Metallica's tours and teams coordinate closely with tons of moving parts, people, technologies, all the cities. Think of all the regulation, local government alone. You name all that stuff. Similar to global supply chain for sure. Important details, because I'm going to do it. Nothing else matters.
Nice. That was good.
We try.
10 points.
It's the only song. Good. Only that and Enter Sandman, the only Metallica songs I can admit I know. So, your thoughts there, Allison?
Well, I did look up to see Taylor Swift, how many semi-trucks are required for hers. It's twice. It's 90.
Really?
90.
Wow.
But what's really interesting, too, is all the peripheral things that have to happen outside of the concert itself. So, if you think about it, if you're a summer concert person, band, and you've got to go to a stadium. Okay, well, what's happening at that stadium the week before?
Right.
Is it a baseball game? Is it a football game? Is it something that's going to require those production people to fix the grass after? You have all these moving pieces and logistics that I think are just always fascinating to me.
I agree. I mean, and Jeremy points out, like catering.
Yeah.
Think of all the food you got. You got to feed this massive army.
Yeah.
Right. Stage design, setup. Maybe Jeremy's part of the expert crew putting on Taylor Swift or Metallica. He seems to know a lot.
Well, and then there are others, and my sister's a really big T Swift fan. Okay. I don't really know if I know her music, to be honest with you. I'm embarrassed to say. But I do know that she's done some pretty good things for her communities that she goes into. I know that she gave her semi drivers like $100,000 bonus.
Wow.
For all the effort. I know that she donates to community food banks when she goes into certain cities. So those kinds of things are good. So you're I think Deborah Dull, our friend over at Circular Supply Chain. Supply Chain. Yeah. I believe she'd be happy about that, because it is about a circular piece of the puzzle.
Circularity. More and more is permeating our lives, our businesses, our industry, and that is certainly good news. And I got to tell you, how cool would it be? I've rubbed elbows a little bit with some of these, I'll call it entertainment industry supply chain teams. Allison, King Plow here in West Atlanta is kind of our home base when we do in-person, non-remote content. And we were there one time, probably a few months ago. And what is the Netflix show that's tied to the Karate Kid series, movies?
Cobra Kai?
Yes, Cobra Kai. Cobra Kai, very popular Netflix show. I think it's in its 4th or 5th season. It was filming at King Plow.
Oh, cool.
And as cool as that was, the convoy that was lined up the street there just outside King Plow, you should have seen it. It wasn't 48 trucks, but there was a bunch of them. And you could almost tell what each truck specialized in. It's really cool. So maybe that's a second or third career for us when we reach that point. What you think, Allison?
Right after my chief manufacturing officer role that I've.
That's right. Oh, changing the hats quick around here. Yeah. All right. What a great article there, by the way, Allison. Thank you for contributing that. Great show here today. Loved your perspective. I thought these are some fascinating stories that we covered. I love what Kim Humphrey and AME are doing. Folks, don't sleep on that opportunity. Check it out. We dropped the links earlier. You can also find it in the comments. If you're a veteran and the manufacturing industry really appeals to you on the top of your list, reach out to us or Kim. We'll get you connected. As Kim mentioned, there's some great opportunities there to save a few bucks too. But Allison, all of that, how can folks connect with some of the cool things you're doing, especially with the Dave Krejci Foundation? A lot of things you do in industry, manufacturing, and otherwise. You've got a really cool technology-related live stream that might be weekly, if I'm not mistaken. Allison,
Yes.
how can folks tune into all that?
Sure. Thanks for the plug. Yeah. So definitely follow me on LinkedIn. I'll share all kinds of fun things. I connect with almost anybody that messages me and says, "Hey, I found you from Supply Chain Now." I'm more than happy to. I won't accept connection requests if I don't know the person and there's no context. But again, we talked earlier, right? Like if you tell me, "Hey, saw you and Scott," then I'm like, "Oh, heck yeah, you're not a bot."
Hey, context is king and queen, the whole royal family. So if you reach out to Allison, find her on LinkedIn, make sure you mention, "Hey, I saw you on Supply Chain Now," and you can tune in to some of the cool things that Allison does beyond leading a growing, robust manufacturing operation here in the Atlanta area. And yes, Karak Jose, good deal, my friend. Great to see you. Look at that Hollywood headshot. Supply Chain is all about everything. Sounds like that Oscar-winning movie from the last Oscar Awards. And LK, we'll get you signed up. I think you're a Army veteran, if my memory is not, if I'm not confusing things. So we'll definitely get you hooked up there, Larry. Great to see you. All right. Big thanks to all of you out there that tuned in. Most importantly, really appreciate all the great comments. We couldn't get to all of them, I know. Thanks for being here. If you're listening to this on the replay, hey, thanks for being part of our on-demand component of our global audience for sure. Big thanks to our guest, Kim Humphrey, and AME. Folks, check out the conference coming up in Atlanta in October, ame.org. You can also check out ame.org/Atlanta to take advantage of those deals there. Big thanks to Allison Giddens. Allison, a pleasure to have you on shows here at Supply Chain Now. Thank you so much.
Thanks for having me. It was a fun chat.
It was. So, hey, here's the deal, folks. Here's your challenge. Here's what you got to do today on July 22nd, 2024. You can't waste a day. You got to take something that Allison or Kim or Jeremy or you name it, Karai, all these folks, take one thing they shared here today, put it into practice, make the industry a better place, right? Deeds, not words. It's what you do. It's not what you say. When all that's said, on behalf of the entire team here at Supply Chain Now, Scott Luton challenging you to do good, give forward, be the change that's needed. And we'll see you next time right back here at You Know It, Supply Chain Now. Thanks, everybody.